So that was PlayStation Showcase. Immediate reactions. It had probably about 25 minutes, I'd say, that's going to be looked over heavily for the most part, because there is, of course, a lot of time spent on games we already knew about. Like, they showed Deathloop again. I don't really know anyone who went into this thinking they need to see Deathloop again, right? Rainbow Six Extraction. I don't really know anyone who tuned into Sony's show to see more Rainbow Six Extraction. When they got down to like the last 10 minutes, right? It was about 10 minutes. They just started firing left and right with announcements. And I mean, if you look at what Sony's doing right now, Insomniac is on a roll. They just announced 2 titles here. And what I like is that Sony seems to be having Insomniac pretty much just collaborate with Marvel now going forward. And I think that's pretty cool to have that as as basically a cornerstone for them, as basically Insomniac and Marvel collaborating together. Wolverine. I feel like Wolverine is going to be a more narrative-driven experience, kind of like Ratchet and Clank, where it's not like a massive open world like how they do with Spider-Man. So I think that one will be a bit, I don't want to say easier for Insomniac to get out, but not as massive as what Spider-Man 2 clearly is aiming to be. I like the idea of Wolverine getting that shine from Insomniac, because I think they'll do a great job with it. I'm curious if they are going to shoot for that mature rating. I feel like you have to with Wolverine, because obviously his claws, he's going to be cutting people up and all of this. And from there, Spider-Man 2, you know, I'll admit, I thought the Spider-Man 2 trailer in the beginning, it kind of looked like it was Infamous at first, because they had the lightning that hit the pole. And I think that's what everyone thought, because I saw some people in the chat say Infamous. But then we, of course, see Spider-Man and Miles and all of that show up. But I like the idea of them introducing Venom as like the main antagonist. Of course, there'll probably be others around Venom as well. It's a very quick look, but that's what I think a lot of people wanted at this point, is for them to have some big villain like a Venom. And I guess they could also do like Green Goblin and some others. You know, they could throw all kinds of different villains in there, but Venom clearly the big threat there. And I'm sure Insomniac's gonna do some really cool set pieces and events with that. The Knights of the Old Republic remake. Okay, so Knights of the Old Republic getting a remake. We already had heard about this. The thing that was weird to me when they first announced that, or really it got out there through rumor that it was going to happen, was that Aspyr was going to be doing it. Now, I think it's great that Lucasfilm is collaborating much more openly now with different companies, because originally it was just EA. You know, it was like, all right, we're just going to work with EA. They'll make the Battlefronts. And obviously that was a mistake, because it seems like Star Wars is in a better place now that other companies, developers, and even seemingly Sony stepping in for marketing rights maybe for this, because some people in the chat, I have to double check to make sure, but we're saying that this is also going to be multi-platform and Xbox and stuff as well. But the fact that Sony showed it here first, obviously with the PlayStation logo, people are going to look at that and say, oh, maybe, you know, it's a Sony thing. But I like the idea of that remake. I am a little concerned because Aspyr hasn't exactly proven themselves to do full remakes. They've mostly done remasters. So what they'll do is they'll go back and take older Star Wars games, bring them up. Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy, Pod Racer. So the idea of them working possibly from the ground up on a remake, one as beloved as the source material with Knights of the Republic, a little concerning there, but hey, they showed the trailer. It was a cinematic shot. Obviously, they're not prepared to show gameplay, and I think that's kind of what we saw with some of these other games. Obviously, Spider-Man 2 very far off, 2023, and they probably were only prepared to show us as much as we just saw there, which is a cinematic trailer. But the one that I'm really curious about right now is Wolverine. And obviously the trailer was only supposed to show us just enough to tell us it's Wolverine. That's the one I'm really curious about, because we had a Wolverine game. It was on the 360. I think it went along with the movie, but it was a very violent X-Men Wolverine style game. That was one I liked a lot. It was very well done. It was fun. Much better than the old X-Men movie tie-in game, that's for sure. But I liked pretty much the last 10 minutes was good. There's a stint of about 30 minutes where I think people were just checking out completely because it's just not a lot was happening there. So while the showcase had some good announcements, if you look at it on paper, I think there were spots where it was just, it probably didn't have to go on as long as it did. Unfortunately, we did not see anything when it comes to Infamous. We did not see anything when it comes to Silent Hill, Metal Gear Solid, these Twisted Metal. The games that are thrown out there, people were obviously hoping for. Yeah, not quite. Maybe next year, right? Because I don't think we're going to hear from Sony again for a little while when it comes to a showcase like this. Could have a state of play to show off some titles as we get closer, like the smaller state of play, 15, 20-minute thing. The reveal at the end for God of War, that's kind of what I was figuring we would see. God of War gameplay, some shots to kind of set up the story. Obviously, Atreus has gotten older, so I'm sure we'll be able to piece together what kind of a time jump we're seeing here with that. But I was curious if they were going to have us play as Atreus, like jump back and forth between them. Nothing there, at least from what they showed off here. But they give you the blades in the beginning, obviously, because it's going to be playing off the first one. The combos looked good. Visually, it looked impressive. Really, I think the part that looked extremely impressive, not necessarily the character models, because they already looked good on the PS4. Certainly the environments and the landscapes, there was a lot going on. If you go back and look at that trailer, specifically when they go into town, there's a lot of little things happening. And I'm sure a lot of that has to do with also the move to the PS5, because they'll probably compare the PS4 and the PS5 versions when they come out, and there'll just be less happening. Like you can see here, for example. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going on in some of those shots. So I'm looking forward to God of War. Nothing when it comes to release date, release window. 2022, probably. I'm thinking holiday 2022, like September, maybe in there. So I would say the show was, if they didn't have all that stuff at the end to really wrap it all together, it would not have been a very good show. The announcements, obviously, everyone was showing up for were from Sony specifically. So last 10 minutes, I'm sure was great for PlayStation fans. If you're someone who's a bit older and remembers Knights of the Republic, it started off pretty strong. But I need to go back and get all the details, though. This is just initial reaction. I guess if I had to put a letter grade on the presentation, I would give it a B-. Yeah, B-. If it wasn't for that ending bout where they had a bunch of games back to back to back, and to be honest, if it wasn't for Insomniac, this would have been, I think, a pretty disappointing show for a lot of people. I mean, Insomniac just showed up with, I'd say, the biggest surprise out of left field, because we already knew about Knights of the Republic. Was anyone saying, wow, Insomniac's going to do a Wolverine game? No. Like, that was probably the biggest surprise for me, was that. And Gran Turismo looks good. Basically, that last block really put it over the top to get it there. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys, like I said, think about this one. And I'll see everyone in the next video.